So, one of the things that we warned against multiple times during the Brexit debate was that, look, if you leave the European Union, we are going to be poorer. We also do not have access to the European Development Fund and several other projects and funds that are available to us that are now. I said this multiple times. The Tories are not going to be able to replicate the amount of funds and grants that were available to towns and projects that were that are available to us because we are members of the European Union. And oh look, Theresa May announced recently what she called a Stronger Towns Fund, which, by the way, doesn't equal, I may quote this wrong, but it's something like, it's not even 1/10 of the funding that was available, and it's even less than that amounts to the cuts that the Conservatives themselves have actually placed on these towns. So a group, you'll be able to find this if you go to Bristol for Europe. This is a map that shows the difference between May's Stronger Town Fund and the EU structural funds per region. This is how much each region is losing out on because of Brexit. So I don't think... yeah. So that's the map itself, but we'll just go over, I'll read you through some of these because, good God. So the southeast is minus 249 million. The southwest is minus 1,462 million. The east of England is minus 362 million. The West Midlands is minus 697 million. The East Midlands, 488 million. The North West, minus 851 million. The region I'm from, Yorkshire and Humber, minus 597 million. The North East, minus 634 million. Scotland, minus 895 million. And Northern Ireland is minus 631 million. That's insane, I hear you say. But, and this is the best part, what, I hear you cry, what about Wales? What's this? You suddenly care about Wales? Well, the government certainly doesn't, because Wales is minus, are you ready for this? 2,431 million. That is how much they are down. It is absolutely unbelievable. And we said this from the very beginning. When we leave the EU, we are poorer, we are weaker. There is going to be absolutely no investment of any shape or sort available after Brexit to do any big projects. Why? Because, as we've pointed out multiple times on this channel, austerity, as Theresa May has proven, austerity is a choice that the Conservatives can choose to, use to bribe people at their whim. In this case, they choose to bribe the DUP to try and, have a majority in Parliament, which is, working out wonders for them. You've then got this new attempt, May's Stronger Town Fund, which is absolutely laughable when you compare to the amount of money and funding that was available from the EU. But there you go. We warned you several times, multiple times in fact, but you kept on saying, oh, it's just Project Fear. And what's the funny thing about this is that when you bring this up to Brexiteers, they will just say, oh, we knew what we were voting for. No, you didn't. That's because the Leave campaign spun as many different types of Brexit as possible to try and con as many people as they could into voting for Leave. Remember Daniel Hannan? Don't you find it odd that Daniel Hannan hasn't been involved in any of the post-Brexiteer, shall we say, horse races or roundups like the Leave Means Leave rally or anything like that? In fact, you don't tend to see him. That's because Daniel Hannan was a big advocate during the referendum for leaving the EU but not leaving the single market or the customs union. In fact, his famous now quote, "Only a fool would leave the single market." So bear this in mind, that, and you can go back, if you don't believe me, there are still tons of videos from MPs and people who campaigned for leave basically touting every single option they could. You know, we had Nigel Farage, there's Nigel Farage saying, "Oh, what's so bad about being like Norway?" But he has admonished the Norway option several times post-Brexit. So this is giving the game away from the start of the very thing. I've said on this channel, and we've gone through all sorts of articles that have shown that all these Brexiteers cared about trying to get out of the regulations that we've brought in through being members of the European Union. Because if they can get rid of those regulations, well then they believe that somehow Britain is going to be this magical wonderland of opportunity. But the regulations they want to get rid of are things like health and safety, environmental protections, workers' rights, consumer protections. The list goes on and on. And that's what they have used for justification multiple times of, oh, it's the will of the people. But because Brexit was this unknowable thing, no one knew what they were voting for, even though Brexiteers claim they knew what they were voting for. No one did. So there you go. This is part of the reason why we're in this mess now, and evidence just mounts and mounts and mounts of how bad an idea leaving the European Union is.